Podcast. I'm your host, Ernest EJ Christian. If you just noticed already, no theme music on this one because I am actually recording this on the road. I want to get this out as soon as possible because I don't have time to record as much as you think. Let me rephrase that. I have a certain window a week where I can record podcasts without interruption and without, just pressure, people, and trying to balance the act with her. Um, and I've kind of gone away from doing these like on the road podcasts because while I don't necessarily mind recording off outside the studio, in fact sometimes it does lend some good content like recording from the road. I've been doing this thing now for 10 years, and a lot of the podcasts I've done I've done through the years has been on the road. A lot of times you want to get content out, and sometimes the only way I can keep up with the schedule, at least when I was doing podcasts on a daily basis back in say 2014 through 2017, 18, was record on the road. And because at the same time, I have to make sure that I was doing, make sure I was cutting my family time and all that. So it's understood that for me to kind of burn the candle at both ends and still be able to do it in a successful manner, I had to do some things that may be a little odd. And the odd part was recording on the road. It was kind of easy back in the day too because I used to work nights and I would work till late nights. So I would have like shows I would do like 2, 3 in the morning, sometimes even 4 in the morning, depending on time off work. And I would get those shows in the can and just come out there immediately. So it was kind of cool to be able to do that. I've now have a normal schedule for the last like 2 years now. Thank God I have. Like I'm much better. I'm much healthier for it, honestly, especially as I get in my 40s. Um, but I kind of gone away from these on location pods because not that I don't want to, but I love being in my studio and be able to do it with higher quality. But sometimes you have to use these opportunities to like if you have content like out now that may not matter in a few days, then you just have to record it and do what you gotta do. For example, like when we do the Football's Awesome podcast, the Football's Awesome segment, the entire episode, they come out Wednesday morning. Um, but those were recorded on Tuesdays. Like I record those segments on Tuesday afternoons and Tuesday nights between Mike and Zach and Kyle, and then my solo parts. That those are done, because I have the time. I have a 2-hour window in the afternoon, Tuesday afternoon to do these things, and then I have another window at nighttime to record them. So that is pretty much set in stone already. But I like to do more of these podcasts. Like my goal is always probably 2 to 3 a week. Um, I know a lot of people will do like independent media like I do. And I'm not even trying to brag here, but I'm gonna be real. You know, there is very few people who are dedicated to this craft than I am. Because a lot of people who whether I'm friends with them or people I are acquaintance with, they don't put in the work like I do when it comes to podcasts. I don't think I'm taking in the 10 years I've been doing this medium, over 10 years. I don't think I'm taking more than a month off on podcasting, and a lot of times that was strategic because it was me getting a break. It was me taking July and early August off as we neared football. It was I did that to solely clear my head because I would go balls to the wall 5 days a week and whatnot. So there's very few people who do what I do that are dedicated to what I do in the same way I am. And to be honest with you, the way I do podcasts now, especially in the last couple of years, I've actually tempered off because I used to go 5 days a week. I would do 5 days a week plus appearances on the shows. You know, I was doing like 3 or 4 shows. Not only my shows, but I was doing like other appearances, and I was also recording other podcasts. I was running time too. Excuse me. So I've actually tempered up a lot in other ways. I've actually sort of calmed down. Now I do. I have this show which I do at least twice a week, maybe 3 times a week. I have my wrestling podcast I do, Take Wrestling every Thursday, which drops on Fridays, but record every night. So I got a lot on my plate, and I'm producing them too on top of that. So not only am I the one hosting the shows, I'm also the guy kind of putting the frosting on and putting the toppings on and the whatnot. So I got a lot going on. I got a lot going on, and I'm not complaining about it. Cause I love doing what I do. I mean, I would love to make this a career. It'd be awesome if I can do podcast production or even like say the show got picked up by a major network. If they wanted me to be a part of the network, I definitely would be game for that. But in the meantime, I do it because I love it. I do it for the love of it first and foremost. So anyway, enough bragging for the 5 minutes of the show. I'm actually on the way to work, so I don't want to waste much time. I do have a 20-minute window before I have to be in there. Um, the reason I wanted to get into the show right now is because I wanted to discuss the NBA 75. We are the first week of the season already. We're 6 days into the season already. The NBA released their NBA 75 list last week, the complete list actually. And it's funny because I remember when they did NBA 50 back in 1996, and I remember it being a pretty big deal. I actually remember buying the VHS too for that. They did the reveal on a VHS tape on the that I had that I lost years ago. And I remember being pretty stoked about it. And while being 16 years old and young, I was still had a good understanding of the league then, the league before then, and whatnot. Um, and I was very intrigued for the last couple of years as we're getting close to this NBA 75 because I'm curious if they're going to keep the same 50 from before and just add on 25 more guys that played between 1996 and now. Which apparently, my understanding, they did not redo the list. They actually kept the original 50, and then they added to the 75, making 75, add 25 guys in the last 25 years. And a lot of the talk about it is mostly about the snubs. Who got snubbed from the list? You have the usual the Jordans, Kobe's, obviously the new people got added because obviously they weren't playing that in 96. LeBron and Tim Duncan and all those guys. And the list is actually is pretty solid. Like, I have a couple of issues with certain guys that are on the list. I think Anthony should make the list. I like AD. I just don't know he's a top 25 guy. He's top 25 talent, but I know his injuries that certainly hurt him. But then again, same thing can be said about Paul Walton. He's on the top. He's in the original 50 as well too. So I can't necessarily exclude him either. Well, I'm talking about the snubs, and here's the problem. No matter what you do, no matter what happens, these kind of lists you do, whether it be order or tiers or whatever it may be, you know, not everyone can get on. It's just that simple. Not everyone can get on. There will be people who will be missing. And the standouts for me really, obviously, on this list, Vince Carter, who I actually agree with. He should have been on the list. He's a great player. He was a great player. He played a long time too, especially longevity in this helps his case. He's actually really, really productive even in his last year in the NBA, 2 years ago. But I can find these 75 guys more impact than Vince Carter. That didn't bother me as much. Klay Thompson, you can make a case for it. I'm not going to die on the hill on that argument, but I mean, he's arguing great shooter of all time. That helps. I mean, I can see the case for Klay Thompson, but again, you go through that list, and you have to, unless you're a knowledgeable NBA fan or historian, you're probably going to have a problem with it because you probably watch NBA basketball from 2000 to the present day, and I know those guys are start, and the impact those guys are. So I'm not going to sit and cry about him having the list, but maybe he should have been on the list. I certainly see him in the top 100. Not WC that. Who's the other ones I think? Paul Gasol's gonna make this well too. Which again, he's a Prince guy, Hall of Famer, but Prince guy. I don't know if I would make the case for all too. The big one, the big snub of this whole thing to me is Dwight Howard. Now people say, "Oh, what? Dwight Howard? Really? Dwight Howard should be on the list?" Yes, Dwight Howard. Now look, I'm not gonna lose sleep over Dwight Howard on the list either. But Dwight Howard is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. He gave 9 All-Star teams, I believe. I'm sorry, this is a problem with recording on the road. I don't have my notes with me. If it's too loud, I apologize. But oh well. This is a guy that's won 3 of the year. At one point, for a good 3-quarter sample, he was one of the top 3-4 players in all basketball in the league that include Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Kevin Durant. Okay, so let's stop that noise real quick. We may not like Dwight Howard, okay, and when he's come in the last, say, 5 or 6 years, and some of the things he's said and the way he acts, but this is not a popular contest. Okay, it's not a popular contest. Dwight Howard's a fantastic player. It wasn't a thing. Well, still, he really is still a league. You know, the guy was again, one of the more dominant players in his position that we've seen in a long time. I'm not saying that he's the top 5 center of all time. I'm not saying he's better than Shaq or, Bill Russell, Dave Robinson. I'm not going that far. But at the same time, we need to. This is not a popular contest. This is just saying it what it is. You work on the court, and that's it. Some people who don't like Dwight Howard, that's too bad. He should be on the list. He really should. So, and he's not. And we saw the game on. They played the other night. Was it against who was they playing on? They played against the Warriors, and against the Warriors, Phoenix Suns, and against him and AD got into it on the bench, and people were like, maybe he's a small thing because he got on the list. Maybe he is. He probably should be. I also feel that Kyrie Irving was considered on the list and was actually on the list, and the last thing got taken out was the vaccination stands. It's stupid also too. If that's true, that's a bad look by the NBA. Again, it's not a public contest. It's about production of the court. And for the record, I'm not even sure Kyrie Irving should be on the 25 list anyway. But at the same time, if that's the reason you took off the list, that's stupid. That's messed up. That's petty. So, like I said, no matter what happens, we do these lists and whatnot, there'll be people who will be pissed off because they're not going to get in. It is what it is. Stay in the NBA. The Ben Simmons saga continues. He's missed the first 2 games. He's now saying that he's ready to play basketball now. I'm not. I hope Ben Simmons is not weaponizing the mental health thing as a way to not play basketball. As a way not to close contract. Not the people. Because there are real people there, real people who have real mental health issues, that are not weaponizing it. I hope Ben Simmons is not doing the same. But let's be real here. He's just soft. He's soft. And he's soft in a way where I'm not making fun of him. He's soft in a way where it's actually quite disturbing. This guy gets one little piece of adversity. I don't even talk about now. He was through, last year, 2 years before that. Doing adversity, and immediately he's in a hole. In a rabbit hole. Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't understand this. I don't. And again, I think it's probably an era with his ways, his environment, whatever. I don't know. But this guy is trying to make this funny for me because I look at this guy coming out of college, like, this guy, I'm not saying he's LeBron, but a lot of his skill set, if you put the work in, especially, and shoot the ball, he could have been. I'm not saying he's not great now. He's a great player now, but he's certainly hit the ceiling at this point. Based on his skill set, he chooses to stick with. It's kind of sad, man. It's kind of sad. But I hope he's not weaponizing mental health. That would just be that would be just the easy road out. Oh, I don't want to play now because I don't think I take it. You're the one that's trying to hold out. You obviously have no leverage in the situation with the Sixers. Man up. Talk to your teammates and play ball. I don't know, man. Maybe I was built differently. But that, while I'm a pro player and all that, this, it's a bad look. Last week, I think it was last week, Colin Powell, former general, former Secretary of State, passed away, age was it 80? I didn't realize that he was that old. It's 80, I think it was 85. I don't know, whatever he was. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm a Colin Powell fan, obviously. Obviously, a lot of things that he was involved in when it came to the Bush administration, the DMWBs and all that. That obviously he was stuck on a lot of situations where, it was not favorable in terms of, American decisions and whatnot. This is a man that served this country. First African American Secretary of State. This is a guy I definitely would have voted for president, regardless if he was Republican or Democrat. And he was definitely an icon, of in the world of politics, in the world of just Americanism. Definitely mattered very much. It wasn't perfect, but who is? You know. It did bother me though, like after he passed, a day later, Donald Trump, former president of the United States, 45, decided to be very petty. About Colin Powell. Colin Powell had been very critical of Trump, throughout his administration, throughout his years as president of the United States. I'm trying to find the quote, the press release that Donald Trump released um, after Powell passed away. It's sad. It fits the narrative. It fits his brand. Donald Trump is very petty. Here it is. I found it. So basically, it's a statement by the Donald J. Trump, the fourth president of the United States. Basically, saying this: wonderful to see Colin Powell, who made big mistakes on Iraq and famously so-called weapons of mass destruction, be treated in death so beautifully by the fake news media. Hope that happens to me someday. He was a classic rhino, and even that, always being the first to attack other Republicans. He may have plenty mistakes, but anyway, may he rest in peace. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Trump is actually not wrong when he said in his opening statement. He's not wrong about that. So if everybody gets his pants a bunch, say, no, Trump's wrong with it. No, he's not. What he said is not actually wrong. However, the problem I have with Trump is not what he said. It's the timing of what he said. I don't care if he has his opinion, because his opinion is actually so it's rooted in fact. Let's be real here. Iraq was a mistake. And I know this because I actually won. I was okay with Iraq initially, and then pull my stance back on Iraq. But he's not wrong about that. The problem with Trump here is the timing of doing this. A day after the guy passed away, and then like classic narcissism as Donald Trump is, decides to say, "Oh, what about me? Hope they treat me this way." Come on, Donnie, you're better than this, man. Well, is he? Um, I don't know. I don't need it. You should be surprised though, because this is who Donald Trump is. He's always been, even before his president of the United States. Like I said, I get the appeal from the Greek because he's kind of like a bull in a china shop, and you know, when you look at Washington D.C. as a bunch of like stiffs and whatnot, and he's this guy that comes in there and says, "Let's fucks everything up," and I get that, and in some cases I can see the reason for it, but at the end of the day, I don't know. I'm not into politics. You guys know how I feel about politics and whatnot. I wish he was better about it, but oh well. You know, that's his brand. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's a quick one I said today. I'm at work now, so again, I'm on Twitter, EJ67, Earnestly podcast on all podcast catchers. And we'll see you on Wednesday for the football is awesome podcast. And yeah, sorry I didn't talk about any NFL here. I'm gonna save that for the Wednesday show and leave my takes on that. So till then, talk to you guys later. God bless y'all.